Hello, is this thing on? The podcast you're about to listen to contains warmly offensive language, crude humor, and countless spoilers for things we guarantee haven't been spoiled for you yet. Listener discretion is advised, especially if you make me angry. You better not fucking piss me off. If you listen to this in public, this isn't safe for work. Get some fucking headphones or something. Want to skip to a specific section of the show? That's awesome! Just look at the episode description. It has timestamps for wherever you want to go. Now sit back and relax, because you want to listen to two fat guys talk.
This is Carlos.
This is Dave.
Two
Fat
guys talk. Episode 61. What's our title for this one?
So the end of season 2.
Yeah, okay. What's the title for this one?
Oh, just the end of season 2 is fine.
Yeah, no, there's a title for it. The title of this one is Full Circle. 2014 gaming predictions are scrutinized
moistly.
Really? Moistly. Very moist. A lot of moisture in this episode. You can squeeze it, it'll drip water.
I'm gonna start vetoing some of these titles.
So, friends of the show, Kiki, Marcus, and Zeke, were having a conversation yesterday about Disney villains. I didn't really join in because I got home late and I kind of wanted some me time. But, it's a pretty good conversation about how Disney villains are awesome and how it's difficult to rank your best one.
Not really.
What's your favorite Disney villain, then? Because there are a lot of good ones.
I'd have to go with my number 1 is Maleficent.
Maleficent's good, but is she nearly as cool as Frollo?
Yes.
The evil judge who basically was the only good part of Hunchback of Notre Dame? I would say, even though that movie's significantly crappy, Frollo is not. There are just so many good Disney villains, man. You got Frollo, you got Shadow Man, got Maleficent, who is really good despite that. You got Snow White's mom. You got Darth Vader. You got Thanos. You got Gaston. There's just a lot of good villains.
Until, technically,
they are Disney villains.
Technically, they are Disney villains, but technically until they're in a Disney-released film,
like the Star Wars movies.
I'm not considering them Disney villains.
Well, you cannot consider them all you like. They are Disney villains. Dave, when we consider best Disney villains, we have to go, who's better, Cruella de Vil or the High Evolutionary?
No, because usually when you talk Disney villains, you're talking Disney animated.
No, not necessarily. The live-action ones count. Like whoever the fuck the villain of National Treasure was. I didn't see that movie, so I wouldn't fucking know.
No.
But whoever the fuck the villain of that movie was, Barbossa was a villain. He was in Kingdom Hearts, Dave. He was in Kingdom Hearts.
Don't care.
It doesn't matter. They are Disney fucking villains. Mickey Mouse and Cyclops are Disney heroes. In fact, Mickey Mouse might be a Summers.
Incorrect, actually.
Disney heroes. Disney. Disney owns them.
Cyclops is not a Disney hero.
Yeah, he's a Disney hero. He's Marvel. He's owned by Marvel.
Technically
he
correct.
He might be licensed to Fox or whoever doing X-Men. That does not make him a Disney character.
I'm not expanding it to the comic universe.
You don't. Here's the thing. Good news. You don't have to worry about that because it totally counts.
No.
It totally counts. You're the worst.
Veto.
Yeah. I'm sure the universe will change because of your veto.
It already did.
You are not Dr. Manhattan, and your junk does not glow blue. You cannot veto this.
Veto.
Dr. Manhattan at Disney? No, that's DC and Warner Brothers. Okay. Damn, I wish the blue cock could be in contention.
No, it's not.
Watchmen is DC.
It's not.
Watchmen is DC. Watchmen is DC. Look that shit up right now.
Oh, good lord.
Believe you me, I would want Dr. Manhattan to be a Marvel character, because then I could envision, I don't know, the villain from Oliver and Company being stopped by a guy with a glowing blue cock.
Okay, so it was published by DC.
And technically DC owns all the characters.
Ugh.
Yep.
Which is funny, seeing as it was entirely made to make fun of DC.
Pretty much.
Okay, fine, they're DC.
Yes, see, you see?
Hey,
the technicalities always win.
Now, there's a good versus. Dr. Manhattan versus Superman.
Well,
I don't think that's really a battle, is it?
I say Dr. Manhattan wins, unless we take future Superman, but then future Dr. Manhattan might be beyond crazy, so it should be Dr. Manhattan for the most part.
Yeah.
Alright, that was our preamble and opening banter. Our next section, Mailbag and Corrections, is empty. I put out the call for voicemails a little late, so I'm not surprised we didn't get any this time. But if you have any voicemails to send us, or any corrections, or any feedback at all, go to twofatguystalk.com. There's a voicemail button, or you can just comment on any of our episodes. Next section, What You Do? This is the Dave and Carlos catch-up section. Dave, what you do?
What I don't.
You do what you don't? You are paradox.
Yes.
What I am saying now is false.
True.
Because false.
Is true.
Yes.
I've been playing a combination of Kingdom Hearts 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Slowing down on World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Gotten through the good part, and now comes the grind. So slowed right the fuck.
I hear ya. I'm almost level 100 on my warrior, and then I'll have a gladiator stance. And then with my other characters, I just want to get to the point where I can level up entirely inside my garrison for experience missions. And with my warrior, I'll probably take her to Ashra and then just do a bunch of until I get bored with my subscription.
I'm already done. I've done the fun part of it. I don't feel the need to do it on any more characters, and since now my friends are currently playing it, I log in, I do 5 minutes of garrison stuff, and I log out.
We're friends, I play it.
True,
but I'm also never around when you're playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Friends who are playing.
Indeed.
And other than that, new Wii U, so I'm playing the Super Mario World for it.
Super Mario 3D World.
3D World, correct.
Yeah.
I've also got a copy of Wind Waker.
Yeah, Wind Waker HD. And you're enjoying that? Does that let you play with other controllers, or does it need the gamepad?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It's not even opened yet. It's on the shelf.
I was going to bring you a couple controllers, but I got lazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Lots of time till Christmas.
Yes, indeed.
What have you been doing?
Making a list of all my backlog of games, movies, and books that I need to catch up on. There's a lot that...
I kind of want to see this list.
There's a list of stuff that I kind of want to go back to, but I know I never will. And then there's a list of stuff that I want to go back to, and I know I will. Because as you know, there's the list, and then there's the list. And it's tough to tell which list I put an item on. I've also been playing my Wii U as well. Some Mario Kart 8, some Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, some Super Mario 3D World, and even some new Super Luigi U. Playing the World of Warcraft here and there. Some Hearthstone. Most of my non-work hours are spent writing and outlining stories because I've kind of neglected it lately. I'm trying to make up for some lost productivity because I really do enjoy doing it. And I think I'm becoming a little too complacent in following my dream because I'm in a comfortable but not necessarily happy place in life. Oh god, I'm getting a little personal here. Yeah, I've been just jerking off a lot. Just jerking off all the time. Also, you have a Christmas tree here in your corner, and it burns. It burns.
Good.
My senses.
Since I turned that on yesterday, I felt better.
Well, I'm glad you did. For me, it looks like a pagan symbol of pain, because I despise the holidays, but that doesn't matter.
Your pain brings me joy.
Indeed. So this next section is called I Hope Dave-Sempai Notices Me. This is our anime section.
I hate you.
And
so much.
I wanted to talk about something important. I hate on there are 2 Sailor Moon characters that I just hate beyond all hate. Tuxedo Mask, who's a rapist.
Who has given us great amount of reasons to hate him in the new one, especially.
Yeah, and then the old one where he's a giant cock. And then there's
serious question for a moment, before you continue. Which one's worse?
Oh, the new one by far.
Okay.
The old one would be like, I'm a jerk, but I'm not a date rapist.
Okay, just wanted to get that out there.
And Sailor Chibi Moon, who I just recently remembered was totally a canon lesbian with Sailor Saturn. So I'm like, why do I hate her again? Oh, right, I have no good reason. So, this new Sailor Moon Crystal better just take it all the way. Just all the way to the next level. I want to see them...
I hate to kill your buzz on that, my friend, but she was.
No. Fuck your heteronormative bullshit.
That was
where
totally...
every character who's very obviously in love with every other character of the same sex isn't actually in love because Japan... No.
Nope.
Mackin.
I've got no problem with this idea, but that was a fan creation. That was not canon.
No, it was in the show. It was in the show, and it was in the manga, and it was in everywhere. And then fans are like, well, obviously Japan just toys with it because, heteronormative bullshit. Also, I just remember, there's a third character I hate in that show. Fuck that stupid Pegasus. You think Tuxedo Mask is a rapist? This sentient horse wants to fuck a little girl.
Okay, you're going into areas even I don't know of now, and this is scary.
Hey, did Evangelion end yet?
No, it's not.
When are we going to watch this third remake of movie that you keep putting off?
It's not that I'm putting it off. Funimation keeps on pushing back the English release date.
Why don't we just watch the Japanese one then?
You watch part 1 and part 2 in English, I'm watching part 3 in English.
God.
Now, the biggest
this series of movies better give Shinji the happy ending he finally fucking deserves. I'm just telling you. It's going to be a cycle. That's my prediction.
Spoiler, you're right.
Oh shit, are you serious?
I don't think he's going to get his happy ending, but he did finally get his happy ending in the manga.
A happy ending works even if he has to sacrifice himself to do it. That is still the hero... metaphorically surviving the story. Just like in Gladiator when Russell Crowe just punched the shit out of all those children.
But yeah, no, Funimation keeps on pushing back the English release date of movie 3. No one has any idea why. Even though the last time they pushed it back because they wanted to show the film in select theaters.
Sure.
So, but the bigger question is when is the last movie 4 coming out?
Oh, no doubt 2028.
If you had said 2017, you might have been right. They haven't even started. In fact, who's the guy behind Eva?
Hideaki Anno.
He was saying how burnt out he was by the first
Oh, no! Yeah. When he's burnt out, he does bad things. Mm-hmm. When he's burnt out, he makes the Eva movies. He makes End of Evangelion, which is quite possibly the dumbest thing I've ever seen outside of Steins Gate, outside of Char's counterattack. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, so...
Hey, Shinji's proven himself a hero multiple times. He's just gonna jack off to a comatose Asuka, right? Right? This is what people do. I jerk off about jerking off all the time. I joke off about jerking...
Just stop. So he said that he was feeling burnt out, so he has put it aside for the moment. He'll come back when he's not so burnt out.
Okay, you know what? Better late than that. Like, better late than him just going, fuck the fans, and Shinji was Cthulhu the whole time.
By the way, I know how much you love Studio Ghibli films.
Oh, love them!
Do you know who is like a mentor to him?
So our next topic is Shitlord Saga. In this segment, we talk about, it's not a topic, it's a segment, I just needed to move on as quickly as fucking possible.
No, I'm segueing back into
So, here's the thing about that, I figured what the answer to your question was. Shitlord Saga. On the Shitlord list today, Dark Pit and Dr. Mario were taking up character slots that could have been used for Roy and or Pichu and or Wolf.
Okay, now, I agree that Dark Pit and Dr.
Did
Mario...
your screen just get brighter, or are my eyes playing tricks on me?
No, it got brighter.
Okay, good, because I thought maybe I had those cataracts.
No.
So...
I think all these characters should be skipped.
All the clones?
Yeah. Pichu should be a skin of Pikachu.
I
Wolf, a skin of Fox.
I disagree. Wolf plays differently enough and is almost an entirely new character of himself.
Nah.
He's like Ken more than he is just like different colored Fox. If they're gonna, I like some of the clone characters if they just vary up the moveset a little bit so that they're their own unique thing. But Dr. Mario could have been his skin. He's just Dr. Mario. Dark Pit. Then again, there is evil. He's not black though. He has black hair. There's a difference.
And black wings.
Okay, fine.
He's a dark angelic version.
Then again, I mean, to play devil's advocate to that, I mean, fucking, there's evil Ryu, although arguably evil Ryu plays way differently than regular Ryu and looks differently.
Why would you want Roy? You've got Marth.
I fucking
the superior.
So yeah. Marth is actually pretty low tier in this game. It's the first Smash game he's been low tier in.
I've heard.
So that covers what I want to talk about that. The other shitlord that I put on this, maybe you'll disagree, is Barack Obama for not speaking up against the deaths of Michael Brown, Eric Garner, and other people of color killed by terribly bigoted white police officers. It's becoming real damn clear that Barack is just another paid-for, bought and sold by corporations type of president, and it's just so disappointing to see.
I really have nothing to say on that.
Oh, god damn it. This is the one non-game related thing we had here.
I don't see a point. I mean, he can't be elected in another term, so he can basically say whatever the fuck he wants for this term.
He could fix a lot of shit with some executive orders. Which
can be fought tooth and nail by the now Republican-run House and Senate.
Yeah.
So, he's kind of fucked.
Still, fuck him. Fuck him for not.
And he actually can't do too much based on executive orders, because they could impeach him.
He could have gone and visited fucking sites of these murders. He could have said more than just, hey, don't riot, don't protest, trust in the police, even though we got no reason to. Could have done something. He could have paid some minor lip service, at the very least.
He has done the lip service. He has.
Fortunately, that's all he does.
That's all that, he did put aside all that money to, do the cameras for police, but...
A good start?
Not really.
Nowhere near enough.
No, actually, I'm gonna come out and say that was a completely useless, gesture.
Is it because you think cameras are useless, or because you think they need more in addition?
If anything, in the past month, they've proven that cameras are irrelevant. Because they've got camera footage of a man being put into an illegal chokehold, went to court, and they were still found not guilty.
Well, they didn't go to court. They were taken before a grand jury. That's a different thing. The grand jury decides whether or not they will be taken to court. And the grand jury system is so fucking corrupt and brutal as, like, almost nobody gets convicted or gets taken to trial after.
So, I mean, as far as U.S. justice goes with cameras, you're fucked.
No, I hear what you're saying, that it needs to be more than cameras. There needs to be a massive overhaul to not only legally what police can do, but also socially. We need to get off this fucking idea. And if you're a police officer and listening to this, and you are not one of the corrupt, bigoted officers who do this kind of thing, I don't mean you. Please understand that I know you're trying, really. Societally, socially, police officers are hailed as heroes, and they're not. They're people with a lot of power, and in certain countries in the world, like the United States and even Canada, they have far too many powers and far too little checks against those powers. That's why I always say, cameras and always-on surveillance that can be looked at by anyone with a fucking web browser. There needs to be more than that. There needs to be this societal reform where we realize that police are supposed to be working for us and not for the government to repress us. there's a lot of cultural things there that need to change. And yeah, so I can see why you're cynical about the cameras, because they're not enough by themselves.
I'd say things for cameras are a little bit better here in Canada, but...
Well, we still have people, like, dying and being subjugated to illegal behavior from corrupt police. Still happens all the time here. It's just nowhere nearly as prevalent because A, everyone thinks Canada is a peace-loving, peaceful, polite country. We're not. And B, well, we're not the United States now, are we?
No, we're not. Moving on.
Yeah.
Timed jumps and fist bumps.
This is our game section. I want to explain this name a bit. Back when the Paul from the Pixel Response podcast, or Burning Barrel as they're called now, he and Proton John were going to do a retro gaming podcast. They were looking at names. This was like a year or so ago. And I suggested like fucking 15 names for them. They ended up using none of them. They went with Retro Kill Screen. But one of the names I suggested was Time Jumps and Fist Bumps. Which, the idea was like you and your buddy are playing a co-op game, you nail a level, then just fist bump. Yeah! So I'm like, well, we'll just reappropriate this name for our game section if you're cool with it.
Kind of reminds me of some of our co-op sessions of Gears of War.
Oh yeah,
without the jump part.
Well, if you consider a well-timed roadie run a jump, then yeah, that still counts.
Headshots and fist bumps.
Yeah.
That.
If you like, we can name it headshots and fist bumps. I like time jumps and fist bumps just because it rhymes.
It's also retro.
Yeah, there's that. No, there are time jumps in modern games. Look at Platinum games, or look at anything with platforming elements.
Mario 3D World.
Mario 3D World, even a lot of non-Japanese games still have jumping elements.
Yeah.
Right?
However, this one is one that popped up here recently that definitely has hit a nerve with many people. The Street Fighter V announcement itself being a console, PS4, and PC exclusive, outright saying that it will never.
Did they say PS3?
PS4.
Yeah, PS4 and PC.
PS4 and PC.
Okay.
So
it's going to be a Sony exclusive, but also on PC.
Yeah. Which means Microsoft still gets a little bit of the business there, but they've flat out said now, it will never come to Xbox One.
There's a new development here that came up, and I didn't have time to put this... Well, I had time to put it on, but I completely forgot to. Shortly after that, Capcom confirmed that it's going to be a Sony exclusive forever, in addition to the rumors that Sony maybe funded it, same way Nintendo did for Bayonetta 2. And we'll chat about that in a second. Microsoft, on the Killer Instinct forums, the official KI forums, several Microsoft developers are soundboarding off of the community the idea of bringing Killer Instinct to PC. Now, personally, I would like this because that means one of the two Xbox One games I really want to play, I suddenly don't need the console for. But the real interesting bit there is that given the timing of it, I wonder if they're not doing it in direct response to Street Fighter V. Being Sony exclusive, but still very much also PC, because Capcom, and this is one of the few good things Capcom does lately, they are starting to come around to the fact that fighting games on PC are really good. Mm-hmm. PCs can be portable and carried around to tournaments and shit, and they can be configured and customized and shit, and it's just a good idea to put fighting games on PC. I wish ArcSys would learn this lesson. We could get XR'd on PC as well, but
it's coming.
We'll see. Not after the next two Guilty Gear games come out, I hope. Like when they released the original Blaze Blue on Steam not too long ago.
Actually, they're about to release the latest version of Blaze Blue on there.
Great, they're still very late. This needs to come out
they're late, but ArcSys is late to the game on this one. I think we'll see XR'd on their next 6 months.
Well, let's hope so, because they're losing a lot of potential players not having it on PC. Even in Japan, they use their PCs, man.
I know. Back to Street Fighter V here, though, and your Killer Instinct thought. I'm gonna be honest with you on this one, Carlos.
Uh-huh.
I don't think so. Because Killer Instinct, if there's a small niche group for a fighter, I would say Killer Instinct's smaller than Guilty Gear or Blaze Blue.
Oh, hang on.
Or the shit I took last week.
You're not being clear here. What are you saying no to? Are you saying no to it comes to PC, or that Microsoft is considering putting it out on PC as a counter to Street Fighter V? Okay.
Because the Killer Instinct crowd, Street Fighter V being a PlayStation 4 exclusive,
and
is
PC.
good. And PC, but speaking of the consoles...
PC's a console? I'm not going to get into that argument.
Thank you. We're not talking Steam machines. In this case, this is a big thing, and this will sell systems for Sony. It's actually a really good idea on their part.
Sure, people love Street Fighter.
Even though I'm not a fan of console exclusives, the fact that this one's not timed is a big win for Sony. People are saying that Sony threw a whole bunch of money at them. It's turning out more that Sony actually helped them develop it. So, yeah, money exchanged hands, but it's no different than Microsoft and Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Which, that's a whole other thing I can go into later. The bottom line here is that Street Fighter V is going to be a big thing for Sony coming up. However, for every good thing Capcom does, it does another thing bad.
So why the fuck, Capcom, would you release all this info for Street Fighter V, give press kits and shit to people, and then when they post up videos about them, you fucking start flagging their videos and they get taken down with YouTube copyright strikes? Are you fucking retarded?
Now, you and I have had our own run-ins with the copyright system of YouTube.
Oh my god, have we ever?
Like, almost every episode that we put out for our anime rapes, for example.
Oh, they get flagged the moment we put them up.
Now,
without exception.
Now, Angry Joe did a post about this, about how he had his video taken down, and a couple other ones he tried to put up about it got taken down the moment, or got strikes.
For a bit of history. For a bit of history, Angry Joe released a video talking about how he disliked the Street Fighter V Sony exclusivity. And then he started talking about certain cool things about the video. And that got flagged!
Now, the reason why I mentioned our copyright strikes is there are two problems here with the Street Fighter takedowns.
Not to mention that, before you get into those problems, Angry Joe was sent a press kit. He was fucking sent logos and shit. Sorry, two problems. Continue.
There are two big problems in this scenario, and I don't entirely agree with some of the things that Joe said. Number one is YouTube itself, and how their copyright flag system actually is working.
Yes, they flag first, and then if you try to counter that, they notify who they think owns the copyright, who then gets a chance to respond. And then if the owners of the copyright assert that it is still a valid claim, that's when you can escalate it, and if that still fails, or the company might even issue a takedown notice there, that can lead to a takedown notice, and that's what gets you a copyright strike.
And then you have to then again challenge it, and then YouTube actually
puts your video back up, because they assume you're guilty until proven innocent.
Well, they'll put it back up after they have manually reviewed.
Yeah, and every time we've challenged a strike, YouTube has sided with us. So why do we keep not getting the benefit of the doubt? And exactly. I'm sure Angry Joe probably feels the same way by now.
That leads me to problem number 2. Capcom Japan.
I know. Capcom USA is very open for this. Capcom Japan is not. I'm not going to come out and say it's entirely a Japanese problem, because there are a lot of very conservative companies that operate that same way on our side of the ocean. Case in point, both the big recording artists and industry organizations in Canada and the United States.
CIA.
Yeah, something like that. They all firmly want people to keep buying CDs and records if they could get away with it. And they all firmly want people to keep buying into an old model that makes them uber rich, makes the artists not quite as rich, and just screws people on the other side of things. And that's why they want tons of DRM everywhere. And they want to clamp down on people, on shit that is legally and actually fair use. And Capcom Japan and a lot of Japanese companies, they are very much anti-sharing of this kind of thing, because there's a lot of really deeply ingrained, very conservative issues in Japan, and that's just one of them. In Capcom Japan, yeah, they're like that. They're like, nope, we don't want you sharing, sorry. Nope. Tradition says we're allowed to take that down, and we're taking it down. Sorry, I hijacked that from...
No, that's okay. That's where I was going with that. But the bottom line in this case is it's YouTube and its internal strife between communities within the Capcom organization itself.
It's very silly.
I mean, it's basically the problem that we have all the time with our anime raves between Funimation and media. What's the
Media Vision? Media something. I think it's Media Vision or some company out of Japan, and typically companies like Funimation or even Warner Brothers for Terraform Mars
Yep.
will drop their claim. And I'm like, good on you guys. And then you have companies like this Media Vision and
who's
some others.
owned by the
Kodansha, something like that. And they are scumbags beyond scumbaggery, and they do this. And I have no problem telling them to go fuck themselves, because they are gaming a system wherein they get the benefit of the doubt, even though they are clearly in the wrong.
See,
and YouTube needs to get blamed a bit for this too. Like,
I think after so many after you have had to go to the manual process of YouTube, actually looking at your video so many times from a certain company, you should start to get the benefit of the doubt.
I agree, totally. And unfortunately, if YouTube did that, because here's the other big problem, they'd start getting sued by these big companies. Now, let's be real, Google is evil as shit. So I think they should just suck it up and let themselves get sued over this.
I think once you've gone the benefit of the doubt, they've manually had to get involved, then that company should have to get manually involved and say, look, we have actually viewed this video and it does infringe.
Oh, sure.
At that point, you could then push it back and Google says, wait, no, this doesn't infringe, then start doing strikes against the company.
That would be nice. Unfortunately, we live in a world where that will never happen.
No.
Because the rich are always given the benefit of the doubt and hold way more privileges and rights than us poor schmucks.
Yep.
It's that simple. Well, that depressed me.
Well, I know, no, it shouldn't depress you. Doom 4.
It shouldn't, but A, Bethesda, and B, why the hell still haven't we seen these QuakeCon exclusive videos yet? Why are they hiding Doom 4 footage from everyone except some QuakeCon guys? It's getting a little irritating. I want to see some Doom 4, damn it.
In this case, Bethesda's is just the publisher, so...
Oh, okay, fair enough. Where the fuck is the footage?
I agree.
Yeah, it's getting annoying, actually.
Not so much annoying as worrisome.
Mm-hmm.
Because is the footage they showed at QuakeCon no longer valid? Have they had to basically go back on what they showed then and now it's going a different direction?
Maybe.
Or are they just trying to hide it so it's like, ooh, coming in a few months, Doom 4.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what's going on there, but it's pissing me off. You know what pisses a lot of people off? Playing as Chris Benoit in wrestling games that feature creative characters. And you have posed the moral question. Should you be allowed to create Chris Benoit and upload it so others can download it?
I don't see an issue with it, really. I mean, yes, he killed his family.
Oh, yeah, he's a horrible monster who's going to burn in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I get to hell, I think around the third or fourth layer, I'm probably going to fight Chris Benoit. He's going to triple suplex me.
You're making create a character system. If somebody wants to make an old wrestler, just because you want to try and hide the fact that Chris Benoit ever existed in the WWF/E, you should not be removing this content.
It's especially hypocritical when you consider that for the longest time, WWE basically washed their hands of Benoit's existence.
Yeah.
And then when the WWE Network came along recently, they do have specials and pay-per-views from WCW onward that feature Chris Benoit with a disclaimer on the front about it.
Yeah.
But they're still profiting off of Chris Benoit right now. And here's the thing, Chris Benoit killed his family. He is by all rights a monster. And I know Hardcore Holly in his book, which I read recently, The Hardcore Truth, he might have been one of the last people to talk to Benoit alive.
Yep.
Hardcore Holly, Bob Holly, great guy, great wrestler too, very underrated. He basically theorized that what he thinks happened is an argument just went wrong, and the more and more I think about this case, that's probably what happened.
Okay.
That Chris and his wife Nancy were arguing. A gun got involved. She died. Chris couldn't face the grief. He fucking lost it. Killed his kids. Killed himself. However it happened, and Chris Benoit is a monster. I just want to make this clear. The WWE washed their hands of him. The WWE, for all that I like about pro wrestling, encourages its superstars to hurt themselves for my benefit. And then they have to start taking steroids steroids and painkillers in order to just cope. Because that's what steroids are for. Steroids don't just magically make you gain muscle mass. They're just so you can so you can work out harder than you normally work out. I mean, and then you get wrestlers like Eddie Guerrero, whose heart was 3 times its normal size, and he died because of this. And then you get Chris Benoit, who was already coping with Eddie Guerrero's death that hit him super hard. And at the same time, he's just so jacked up on painkillers and in pain all the time. I was reading in several places, including Hardcore Holly's book, where there were times during Eddie's last days it was tough to get him to smile because he was just in pain all the time. And the WWE did this. And the WWE took no responsibility for it. They washed their hands of it. They have a role to play in the death of Chris Benoit's family and the death of Chris Benoit as much as Chris Benoit does. And they are super hypocritical to be profiting off of him, or even to just wash their hands of his entire existence when they made him. They made him, and they owned the company he worked for before that made him. Yeah, you should be allowed to make Chris Benoit even though he was a total monster. I should be allowed to make I should be allowed to make fucking Joseph Stalin or the Hitler custom wrestler, even though they were monsters too.
Here's the thing. I understand them wanting to keep, Hitler out of the game, being shared online. That's fine. You want to make it on your own console? Whatever.
Sure.
Benoit, here's the thing. Yes, in the end, he killed his family and he's a monster.
He's a monster.
Chris Benoit, the person, became a monster.
Yeah, monster.
The character he played on WWE was not. Because all these wrestlers play a character.
You are correct.
In most cases, they're not playing themselves. The Rock, yeah, he plays The Rock on there, but he also acts a little bit like that in real life, too. When he wants to play up the crowd and everything else.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. Vince McMahon has said I am Vince McMahon the person, but there is also Mr. McMahon,
yes,
the evil boss. And you're right, Chris Benoit the character is not Chris Benoit the person, even if Chris Benoit the character is very much like Chris Benoit the person, because Chris Benoit couldn't cut a promo to save his life.
Yeah.
You're right. You make a good point, and you're correct. And Hitler and Joseph Stalin were not characters. They were horrible monsters in real life.
Exactly.
Who killed a lot of people.
Which is why I do believe that Benoit should be included as a character in the game itself.
You think he should actually just be selectable?
They're bringing back all these old wrestlers, and they're doing these, retro wrestler sort of things. So I think yes.
It's really tough for them to wash their hands for it, because every time they mention that only 2 people have won the Royal Rumble from the number 1 position, they mention Shawn Michaels was one of them. And then they just move on to their next talking point.
Yeah. It's time to stop the whitewashing.
Look, WWE, they honestly need to apologize for the whole incident. Not to Chris Benoit's family, to Nancy's family, and to wrestlers and wrestling fans as a whole for their complacency in this whole incident. They really do.
Which is why they will.
And I know. Vince McMahon, the real Vince McMahon, wouldn't even dream of doing that. So,
it would make him too much legally liable.
I know.
And that's the problem, is maybe morally he'd like to, but it would be legal suicide on so many levels.
Wow, this gaming section turned sour and dour and words that rhyme with hour really quick. Let's liven it up. This is Carlos Dave's 2014 predictions, look back, and judgment of the other for having been right or wrong, Slamfest 2014 Extramboree. If you go back to January, and I'll include a link in the episode notes, we did an episode, as we do every January, where we basically made 2014 gaming predictions. This is back when we were still called Two Fat Guys Talk Games. But we still love games, and we're still probably going to make gaming predictions, probably in the next podcast. So here are the predictions that we made last year, and whether or not they came true. So which of our predictions should we start with, Dave?
I'd say, well, mine's a shorter list, so let's do mine last.
You want to do yours last?
Yeah.
Okay. Carlos's first prediction. Well, these are not necessarily in any order, even though I did write them down in order as we re-listened just before recording this. So one of my predictions was that Microsoft will recover their lost goodwill and become the de facto choice for home console. Xbone will seem far less shitty. I'm going to give myself a partial confirmation for this. Xbone does seem less shitty, and they did recover a lot of their goodwill, but the Xbone is still far from the de facto choice, at least according to these fat men's opinions in this room right now.
Yeah, Microsoft hasn't made up for all their shenanigans.
They have made up for quite a lot of them, though.
I'm gonna say if they killed, let's say they killed half the audience that they would have had based on their shenanigans, they've gotten maybe 25% of that 50% back.
So 12.5%. Oh god, math.
Nope. I'm saying if they lost 50%...
half of the audience they lost. Okay.
If they lost 50%, they've gained back half of that.
So they gained back 50% of the 50% they lost. Mathematics!
Mainly because I still see people referencing reasons for not getting the Xbox One as lack of games that they care about, which is a thing with all the consoles.
Except Wii U. Let's be honest with ourselves. Wii U's got games for days.
Minutes.
Yeah, minutes.
And I still see people referencing the fact that Microsoft was so upfront assholes.
They are. They recovered some of their lost goodwill, and the Xbone
and it doesn't seem as shitty now.
With the no longer having a mandatory Kinect as part of it, the Xbone seems much more a reasonable purchase. If I won one the same time last year, I'd be like, fuck, I'm just going to sell this. If I won one now, I'd probably keep it.
I mean, let's face facts. The reason why Microsoft has made such a comeback in the last month and a half.
Oh, it's longer than that.
Nope. And the reason why, as far as selling systems, they've sold so many systems here recently, is a big reason that they dropped the price for the holidays. That has been a major system seller.
Sure, lowered price. No longer mandatory components that were mandatory before, like the Kinect.
Yep.
Their premier free-to-play fighter still is going strong, Killer Instinct.
Sure.
They have actual gaming choices on a mass level, and not just stuff like getting the new Call of Duty DLC first. Stuff like Sunset Overdrive, stuff like
They've had two big games here recently that worked with their whole price drop: Sunset Overdrive and Halo.
Yes, there's the Halo collection. Some big ones coming up, like Halo 5, which I'm going to talk about in a second here. The new Gears of War, and even stuff like their exclusivity deal, timed exclusive for Tomb Raider is timed. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they're in a much better position now than they were before.
A year ago, yes.
So I'm going to say that is a partial confirmation for that.
Partial, yes.
My next prediction, Halo 5 will take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Better than Halo 4, but not enough. Weapon grind reduced, still has a quick time event final boss.
We don't know.
We don't know.
In fact, as far as I'm aware right now, there's no even release date for Halo 5 yet. Mm-hmm. They're about to set up a maybe sometime multiplayer demo for Halo 5, but there's still no release date. So
this one's a wash.
Yeah, we thought Halo 5 would come out this year, and it didn't.
I didn't predict that it was going to be announced this year, so it's not a total thumbs down for me.
Well, okay,
it's just that it didn't happen.
By saying that, though, we basically were saying this year it was going to be out.
I say it's a wash.
Oh, it's a wash.
Yeah. More games will lack bosses and instead use encounters, despite what Carlos wants.
Can't say that here.
Well, I know that by virtue of more indie games and more storyline-driven games, yeah, how do you do a final boss? And I really don't. I love bosses. I think bosses are great tests for your knowledge of the mechanics of a game. And look, this might seem shallow to some of you, but I disagree that it's shallow, and I agree that it's awesome. I want an awesome final boss to be the climax of the game. I just do.
Yeah.
This is how I was born and raised by my family to want final bosses. This is the best test to see if a person has understood your mechanics and the objectives, and it's a great high point of a storyline. It's an awesome final encounter. But, hey, I'm going to call that one a wash too, just because it's hard to tell. I had a couple of Naughty Dog predictions. One that, in a moment of insanity, I suggested they should make Final Fantasy VI-2 this year, and would. Of course they did not. Yeah. I also predicted that Naughty Dog will unveil the next great Crash Bandicoot game, because apparently Sony owns Crash Bandicoot now, and maybe they get Naughty Dog to revisit some of that magic. That also did not happen. I predicted that floppy disks are not coming back. That prediction was realized when floppy disks, in fact, did not come back.
Yeah.
I predicted that Dave will get titles wrong repeatedly throughout 2014, as always.
Confirmed.
Confirmed, and it would have been confirmed if I also said names, places, his own name, any number of things.
That's all.
Yeah, I know. I predicted that Colin Baird would be in Smash Brothers for Wii U. That didn't happen, unfortunately. I predicted, in what has to be my dumbest prediction of 2014, that Half-Life 3 will finally be announced.
Yep. I knew that wasn't going to happen.
I thought you were going to laugh super loud, which is why I didn't fucking say anything for a while. But you just calmly dissected me. I predicted barnacles, specifically the Half-Life enemy. Confirmed? Maybe?
No.
What's that thing on your roof, Dave, that has the tongue sticking out? And should I put my head on that tongue? Oh god, crunch, crunch. I predicted there would be a Dead or Alive guest character in Killer Instinct. That might still happen, but didn't happen this year unless it happens before the 31st, so nope. I predicted that Arxis would make a fighting game for I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, because I'm an idiot. I predicted that Telltale will pick up yet another series I didn't want to turn into an adventure game series. Because
it kind of happened, but not when you care about it.
Well, Game of Thrones is on my watch list. I just don't care about Game of Thrones as any kind of gaming property whatsoever at all. So whatever. So I failed there. I predicted there would be another 3DS model.
Just not in the way it happened.
This is another partial confirmation. The new 3DS was announced. I even said something like it would be much more than just the regular, size change or price change. That would be something kind of new-ish. So
Kind of true.
Yeah, the new 3DS kind of counts and kind of doesn't.
Though,
It is a new console, so I mean...
We still haven't gotten it.
We will. Right after Christmas, probably. After the real reason it probably didn't come out here is because they didn't want Christmas competition. I very strongly doubt it's the reason they gave us.
Uh-huh.
I predict there would be a Wii U Slim model. Wii U's already pretty slim, and it didn't happen, so nope. I predicted at least one fringe game console would come and fail, like the Ouya. I'm gonna need your help on this one. What new fringe game console came out that failed this year?
Can I use the PS TV?
PlayStation
Or
TV?
the Vita TV?
Sure!
I'll get to that in a bit.
Cool. I predicted that I would have a NVIDIA Shield by year's end. I think I bought one 2 days after recording that podcast.
Yeah.
And I love it. I predicted a 3DS TV, much like the Vita TV. That didn't happen, although you can get DS games, regular DS games, not 3DS, on the Wii U Virtual Console. And my final prediction, although there might have been more later in that episode, but we stopped listening when we ended the predictions because we were just kind of wanting to kill ourselves. Folks, we have a great podcast. Extra credits will slide further into irrelevance, and I think we can both say it has. Because now their episodes are getting bad. We're starting to talk about game balance and mechanics and showing that, yeah, they have good ideas on a very broad level and bad ones when it comes down to mechanics.
Yeah, I haven't watched Extra Credits in probably a year and some, so I can't say the quality of their episodes.
Sure.
I just stopped caring.
Sure. Those were Carlos's predictions about games. Dave, read things.
Fair enough. I suggested that Microsoft was going to fall even further. For example, the Xbox One and their shift towards mandatory Connect and no game sharing.
Well, you were wrong on that.
I was wrong about all that.
Yes. I'm glad
Completely.
you can admit it like a man.
Even though I still don't want an Xbox One.
Me neither.
That I suggested that no paradigm change in how companies will release their games, i.e., like old systems still getting all the new games new systems get.
For the most part, you're correct.
I would say that's pretty much confirmed because
that was a good call.
Destiny and a lot of games are still going to the previous generation of consoles while they have
all the new EA Sports games, Guilty Gear XR.
We're still pretty much in a transitionary period from the old to the new.
Sure, agreed.
And won't be out of that probably until mid this year. Until companies have enough faith in the new systems to say, you know something? We're not doing the old systems because it'll hold us back, which a couple companies are already saying. Until all the companies are willing to say that, or at least the majority, we're not there yet.
Sure, agreed.
I suggested that Halo 5 will have a proper final boss fight.
I hope you're correct, but we can't
Again, Halo 5 is nowhere near out, so that's a wash. I suggested that Sony will return to its PS1 and PS2 era glory with PS4, possibly because of RPGs.
You said they'd win the console first. They'd win the next gen.
Yeah, here's the thing. I thought a lot more games were coming out this year for both systems.
Me too.
And in the end, what we've gotten this year has been a couple console exclusives each, and a whole bunch of rehashing from last gen. So, I was wrong, but I did not think we were going to be in a holding pattern for as long as we have.
This might be a good prediction for 2015.
It'll be there. I suggested that if Nintendo does not get third-party support, the Wii U will fail in 2014, and I compared it to the Dreamcast. So, I'm 75% wrong on this one.
I would argue that you're less wrong than that, but that Nintendo they'll still be in trouble. They've definitely pulled themselves out a little bit. They need to pull themselves out more.
Here's the thing. I said last year that Nintendo survives based on its first party, games.
Yep.
And what do I find? I now have a Wii U. And what games do I have in my collection now? Wow, first-party games. So I still hold by the fact that Nintendo needs third-party support to succeed. I mean, it's already a bad thing that Nintendo has admitted that it's already developing its next console, but that we won't be seeing it anytime soon. I'm throwing up the quotations on that one.
I think Nintendo needs more Bayonetta 2s and more games of that, like exclusives that are super unique and that you won't find anywhere else.
I mean, they've got the Xenoblade 2 coming.
Yep.
They've got...
And Xenoblade has received a bit of a resurgence with Shulk's popularity in the Smash game.
And I would like to see them go back and say, you know something? For the people who didn't have a Wii,
I want them to do a remastered Xenoblade on Wii U.
I want a remastered Xenoblade for Wii U. Make this happen. Because number one, the fact that it was only available at GameStop and indie games is bullshit, and the fact that you can't find a new copy under $100
is also bullshit.
Nintendo, do us all a favor and at least let us buy it virtual.
Agreed.
For a reasonable price so that we can bitch slap all the people trying to fuck us over.
Hallelujah. No, I'm not even kidding.
But, predictions will happen next time. I'm not gonna go there. I did suggest that the Vita will make a bit of a comeback thanks to crossplay, streaming, and the Vita TV. I'm gonna say I was 50% right.
Yeah, I was about to say half and half on that one.
Because...
It definitely made a comeback about as much as it's saying.
Well, here's the thing. We're actually seeing some third-party games releasing on the Vita now, and it hasn't been... Here's the big thing. The Vita hasn't been cracked. People aren't using custom firmwares, and you can't pirate their games yet. So the Vita is already way ahead of the PSP as far as not having pirated games. Is there a lot of faith in the system still? Not really, but it's starting to get third-party titles which are bringing people to the system. That's the Vita. The PlayStation TV, on the other hand, can suck my dick because any goodwill Sony was trying to do with the PlayStation TV has utterly fucking failed.
No. Hey, you know that game you want to play on it? It totally is compatible in Europe and Japan, not here.
Yeah, I mean, Sony totally threw the consumer under the bus with this one because if the developer of the game does not patch it, even if it never used the touchscreen to work on the PlayStation Vita, PlayStation TV, gotta get the right title there, you can't play it.
Yep.
And there are a number of games that, there's a lot of games that haven't been patched, and Sony's not even keeping their list up to date when a developer fucking patches. So you check the official, and there's no official site to check compatibility. You check the wiki, which then links to the store, and if it's not listed on the store, it's probably not compatible until you go and check forums, where you find out that it was patched last week, and now confirmed by a whole bunch of people that it now works. Holy fuck, Sony, you're not even trying with the PlayStation TV.
It's getting a little sad.
Fuck.
It's getting a little sad with that thing. And you and I both were looking forward to it.
I own one, okay? I bought one the first week it came out. And I have used it for a total of 20 minutes to confirm that Persona 4 Golden worked. It does work.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't play games like Dracula X Chronicles. I can't play Noodle King Story on it because it only works in Japan. I can't play Wise the new Wise game on there, because only in Japan. Wake the fuck up, Sony.
It's really...
Wake the fuck up. If you're gonna release these things, do a better job of communicating with your fucking customers and stop fucking us around.
Dave don't like me fuck around.
Next one.
Breathe in.
I suggested that Half-Life 3 will not be announced this year.
You were correct.
And I knew I was going to be correct. Though, this is why I wish I could say I was incorrect. Portal 3 will be announced.
It was not.
I was wrong. I'm actually starting to wonder if Valve has given up on making its own video games. I'm really starting to wonder if Valve is just around for making Team Fortress 2 hats and keeping Steam working.
Maybe. Do you think Chell uses the portal gun to eat herself out?
No.
Can you explain why she wouldn't do that?
Moving on. I suggested we'll watch 1 or 2 whole sci-fi fantasy TV series. I'll confirm that one because I've been watching a hell of a lot of Sleepy Hollow and Grimm.
Well, that covers your fantasy.
That's why it's sci-fi / fantasy.
Oh, the technicalities.
Yes. Mainly because there hasn't been anything sci-fi worth watching.
I can't confirm or deny that, so we'll give that one to you.
Thank you. I said that we won't see another hardware revision of the Vita.
We have not.
That's confirmed. I mean, after nerfing the screen on it, they haven't seen fit to...
Unnerf?
Remove the screen. Oh, wait, that's PlayStation TV. At least they announced that beforehand. I said there would be a Wii U peripheral to play 3DS games on the Wii U. Now, I'm pretty sure back then I meant DS, but 3DS didn't happen. DS is on Virtual Console, so that's kind of right, but not quite what I...
It was in the ballpark.
Yeah. And I also suggested game streaming services offered by Xbox and Sony, or Microsoft and Sony rather, would fail. Here's the thing. Microsoft hasn't even touched it yet. They've been talking about it. They've given no definitive information, and I gotta say, probably a good idea on Microsoft's side, because they've done what Sony did to them. They're standing back, and they're watching the train wreck their company's going through. Sony has started the PlayStation Now experience, which is not a subscription. It is literally Roger's fucking video, but where you stream from their servers. And you pay a rental fee depending on how long you want the game for. Keep in mind, this is a rental, this isn't a purchase, of whatever the developer wants. Not what Sony is putting down, what the developer wants. I'm calling this a failure for a number of reasons. Number one, you're asking way too much. When I can basically purchase a used PS2 and dig a game out of a bargain bin at EB Games or my local used game store for less than it costs to rent a couple games for a month, you failed. And you failed big. The other problem is streaming services for gaming does not work yet. Our internet is not good enough, especially up here in Canada, where we're still going through a whole bunch of bullshit. Yes, some of the speeds we can get, we can pay through the ass for, but the bandwidth.
Bandwidth is terrible, and our price for our speed is insane. Canada is one of the worst countries for any kind of bandwidth or data speed across any kind of communication service. We are terrible at it, and no government on either side of the spectrum has done fuck all to fix it.
Yeah.
So that's it.
And that was my predictions for 2014. I kept it pretty tame.
Pretty tame. Probably on our next podcast, maybe the one after, depends on what our schedules look like. We're going to do our predictions for 2015 for games, and since we are Two Fat Guys Talk, a refined podcast that talks about more than games, maybe we'll predict other things. Like we'll own Crimea at the end of 2015.
Start going politics.
Well, hey, let's just predict anything. How about that?
Sure.
Okay. Folks, thank you so much for listening to us. Wait, we need to do our parting thoughts. Parting thoughts.
I think we've done parting thoughts.
Me too. Folks, thank you so much for listening to us. Our website is twofatguystalk.com or the Carlos and Dave Anime... Sorry, not the Carlos and Dave Anime Rave, but carlosanddaveanimerave.com. If you go to either site, you can send us voicemails with the voicemail button. Please do so. We like listening to you.
We're on Twitter at twofatguystalk.
Yes, we are. I was going to say for the voicemails, unless you're a hateful bigot, then send us a voicemail and will make fun of you mercilessly. If you're not a bigot, though, we're happy to hear from you. On iTunes, search for Two Fat Guys Talk. Dave.
Carlos?
How's it going?
I think we're done.
I need to pee real bad.
Okay, now we're done pissing off people. Feel free.
We can piss into toilets, into bowls, as they say on the street. They're like, man, I gotta go visit that bowl, unleash my